Hi, my name is Kyle. My pronouns are he, him. Today, I want to talk about Aegosexuality, also known as Aegosexuality or autocore sexuality. Aegosexuality is a gray asexual identity within asexuality, and so for the sake of context, I'd like to start at the top by talking about asexuality. Throughout this video, I will reference sources which may be found in the accompanying text. Asexuality is often defined as a lack of sexual attraction, but it's appreciably more complicated than just that, as reflected by the many different identities within asexuality. One of my favorite explanations of asexuality comes from the Aces Wild YouTube channel. In her video titled Arousal, Drive, Attraction, and Desire, Bauer defines these four primary components of sexuality. Arousal, which is a purely physiological response to prepare for sex. Drive, wanting to experience a physical sexual release or orgasm. Attraction, a sexual interest in a particular person or persons. And desire, interest in an actual sexual encounter with a person or persons. Many asexuals do lack an experience of sexual attraction while having typical sex drive, but there are also asexuals who have little to no sex drive. There are asexuals who experience sex repulsion in place of desire, and there are asexuals who desire sex without experiencing attraction. While asexuality is generally defined around purely psychological components, attraction and desire, it's important to acknowledge that arousal and sex drive play an important role in sexuality. Substantially lacking arousal or sex drive is an important part of some asexual people's experience of their asexuality. The black-gray-white gradient in the asexual pride flag is an explicit acknowledgement of the varied ways in which and degrees to which asexual people experience sexuality. We're all different, but what we share, represented in the flag's purple stripe, is our community, the asexual community, the larger LGBTQ+ community, and the community we share with our allies. Just as we ask that the world at large understand not everyone experiences sexuality the same way, or at all, within the asexual community, we must ask for the understanding that not everyone experiences asexuality in the same way, and so we return to aegosexuality. Broadly speaking, aegosexuals experience a disconnect between their sexuality and themselves. This often means that aegosexuals experience arousal, drive, and perhaps some modified form of attraction, but not desire for sex. A typical experience for aegosexuals is to enjoy sexual fantasies, porn, masturbation, etc., but not to fantasize about having sex themselves, and to have no interest in seeking out sex with a partner. Aegosexuals also commonly report experiencing their sexual fantasies in the third person only, or fantasizing only about fictional characters and celebrities rather than people they know personally. Tumblr user Hunter in a Brown Coat has some interesting posts about aegosexuality which may help you learn more. Link in the accompanying text. Aegosexuality was first identified by Anthony Bogaert as autocore sexuality. He has this to say about aegosexuals. These individuals still seem to retain a lack of subjective sexual attraction to others or anything, despite physical arousal and seeking out persistent themes in fantasy and pornography. Subjective, in this case, refers to the I, or me, in one's identity as a person. Moreover, it might be argued that asexual people's bodies, or more correctly aspects of their nervous system related to arousal, have a sexual orientation of sorts, but they themselves, their identities, do not. To restate Bogaert's observation, sexual attraction typically has both a target as well as an origin. But for an aegosexual person, they're not part of the equation. Attraction is experienced as all target and no origin, perhaps experienced vicariously through fantasy characters, or perhaps via a character stand-in used to substitute for the aegosexual's role in a sexual fantasy. Bogaert's seminal paper on the subject sparked initial interest in autocore sexuality as an identity, but, unfortunately for the community, Bogaert seemed to have largely characterized it as a paraphilia, an abnormal sexual interest. The community coined a new term, aegosexuality, to simplify the pronunciation, claimed ownership over the identity as a type of asexuality, and distanced themselves from Bogaert's very clinical and academic attitudes. The link I give by Sugar and Spite may be a reblog, I'm not entirely sure, but I have found at least the text of the post in which Aegosexuality was coined. This is the term which has gained the most traction, although some prefer Aegosexuality, which is technically more faithful to the grammar of the term's Latin roots. Hunter in a Brown Coat on Tumblr also created this beautiful pride flag for agosexuals, saying, "It's part of the asexual spectrum, but in many ways it's like an inversion, where asexuals do not feel attraction, but sometimes engage in sexual activities. Autocore sexuals feel the attraction, but don't want to engage in the sexual activities." Well, there you have it. This has been my best attempt at explaining agosexuality. I hope this sparks some discussion, spreads awareness, and maybe helps a few people find who they are. I have attempted to be inclusive and shed some light on more and less typical experiences in this video. If I've left you out, or you think I got something wrong, please let me know. Thank you all for watching.